Hello, Joe. Hi.
Hey, Sankachan, how are you?
I'm good. Have
I
I
saw
not
a couple.
seen you on the other meetings slot as well?
I attended the previous two.
Okay.
For me, it is 3 a.m. Uh,
I was going to ask because I see daylight over your shoulder. So,
yeah,
good
that's.
Lord.
I was out last night until midnight, and then my alarm went off at 2:30 in the morning, and I thought, you know what, I'll go to the Asia Pacific one. Whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm based out of India.
Yeah, you're in India. Okay, so that makes sense. So if you attend the other meeting, what time is that for you?
Uh, 9:30 in the night.
Oh, it's not so bad. Yeah, not so bad.
Not so bad, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 a.m. is challenging.
Okay. I have pinged Drummond. Let's see if he sees the ping and joins. But if he doesn't, then this Miro board and the meeting notes are the things that you want to take a look at. The recording of the meeting, which is the important bit, starts around, I think, 15 minutes into the rest of it is just task force updates and all.
Mhm. Hello, good morning.
Who?
Is can you hear me? Okay. It's just uh, because I am in cafe, so maybe there's some the loud noise. You can just hear the loud noise.
No, we can't. Your sound is good.
Oh, good, good. Thank you. It's just uh, I saw that the minute the Sankar-san's attended the in Korea, it's maybe the early morning, the midnight meeting,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
It's, could you share some the issues in that meetings? It is
And so I'll do my best. There is a meeting recording that should be linked on the meeting page, but I know it's an 1 hour recording, so there were three things that were discussed. One is obviously Brendan walking us through the various credential schemas and getting everybody up to speed in terms of what the credential schemas look like and what the credentials are supposed to do. That is in context of the spec version draft that was out for review, and there was a couple of clarifying questions around it. And so that's linked in the comments, I believe. I don't have the correct spec right now available, but let me just check. Let's see what happens. So that's that, and the other part was having the glossary of terms and asking everyone to take a look at the glossary in terms of whether it seems reasonably complete and it makes it easy for those who are coming into the project to understand what the terms mean and the stuff. The reason for insisting on the glossary is that in many cases, terms look very similar to each other, and being able to distinguish between the scope and context makes it easier to review the spec for the credentials that was out. So that's the second bit. The main body of the meeting was to explore how to build use cases, and Martina used this Miro board, which I'll confess right up front that I haven't had a look at it myself since the meeting. I plan to do it over the weekend, but the Miro board is essentially she has designed a workflow that allows anybody to put inputs in a structured manner and then transform them into use cases for that can be validated against the spec and everything that's been built out. So these are the three main topics that were discussed. Yes, Joe, go ahead.
I have it. I have it open. The Miro board. I have the Miro board open in the tab right now. I think it's blank. I keep zooming out, and I don't think there's anything there yet.
I think it's blank, except for probably one example somewhere, or even that example might have been wiped out. So if you
Oh, I
want,
see. I see.
if you
Yes.
want to
No,
have a
you are correct.
walkthrough in terms of how the Miro board should be used, I'm afraid the recording is the only place to go because I myself have not tried it, so I can't actually show it to you right now. Uh,
I found some
and
content anyway.
and Miro is something I'm remarkably scared of trying to tinker around because I get confused with all the expanse. The never-endingness of the board kind of scares the hell out of me because you keep on scrolling left, right, and it keeps on expanding as much as you want. So, I don't know. These new fancy tools sometimes put me off. So
It's got
that was it.
dark matter. It's
Yeah.
only held together by dark matter.
Okay. So that is all. I think the spec review is something that both Drummond and Brendan were urging everyone to take a look at to be able to get the risk assessment task force did not actually meet this week, and so there is this uh, credential specification for DTG that is up for review. Let me put the link over here so that you don't have to go to the minutes page if you don't want to. This is the credential specification, and yeah, there's no meeting that's going to happen next week, and that's about it.
Okay, thank you. This
I have no idea where Drummond is, so
is
I'm guessing he's stuck up in a different meeting. He has a conflict with some meeting at this similar hour, so
okay.
I'm not very sure.
Is this
I
so?
know Jonathan Black was traveling to meet him, I think in Seattle.
Ah,
Yeah.
so hey guys, I'm a newbie of the DTG. It is I attended the last week meeting, so I'm not familiar with the concepts and the terminologies in the DTG that we discussed. Is at first in DTG architecture there are lots of DID. Is the same DID or some CDID. So 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 it's so I think it's a as a in the digital ecosystem there might be the several DIDs we can use, but my question is how to manage the DID? Is this which organizations create the DIDs? How to manage the life cycle of the DID, those DIDs. Do you have any ideas about that?
I think that has to be your question, Sankashan. I have attended 2 meetings. You've attended 1, I've attended 2.
So I think the general idea about management of DIDs is the pattern is not going to be very different from how individual DIDs are going to be managed by individuals as has been traditionally thought of in the W3C. So you'll have DIDs in some sort of a secure storage mechanisms. The DIDs will actually go through a life cycle of being initiated, active. They could be revoked, suspended, and all of that. And the DID exchange would also be similar in design pattern to what we are very familiar. I think one of the challenges that I have seen, at least personally, is that there is a need to understand that the first person project's idea of DID does not supersede the idea that you will be having DIDs that are issued to you by organizations. And so, for instance, today in India, we have this unique identification number called Aadhaar. Aadhaar is actually issued now since the last 2 months as a verifiable credential to every holder of an Aadhaar number. So effectively, the state issues me with a verifiable credentials. Just like I think in many places the driver's licenses are being issued as MDLs and all of that, right? So they go through their own life cycle. The design pattern that drives the life cycle of credentials and the dates are not very particularly different. The challenge, what happens is that we are yet to go to a place where we are trying to say that, okay, if you look at the spec, for instance, the credential spec, it doesn't necessarily talk about the life cycle at this point in time. In this current version, the version zero point 0.3 or whichever is out, it doesn't necessarily talk about the life cycle. It just says that you will receive a credential and the credential can be used to undertake various activities that allows the credential capability will allow. So the life cycle question and the management question, and more importantly, given that you are going to do all of these using keys, how are you going to manage rotation of keys and be able to manage your keys so that you don't actually end up sort of negating the credentials and the DIDs that you have? Those are questions that are not at this point very specifically mentioned anywhere. And I think that we need to go through that because to me, that has been the learning from the existing pattern in W3C that you do have to have a good way of getting people to manage keys. The moment you are in cryptography, you'll end up managing keys. And in the cryptocurrency world, if we go and look at it, the majority of the losses, frauds, or everything happens through mismanagement of keys, right? So this is far more important at this point. This is identity. So to answer your question in short, it is not written down yet. Hang on. Just Drummond is done. Sorry. Got distracted by a Discord ping. And that's where we are. But we'll park your question and we will ask Drummond the same thing. Let him go.
Yes, I see. Ah,
I am so sorry. I was deep into a task and I didn't see, I think it was overwritten by another reminder message. I apologize very much for not starting on time. I'm 15 minutes late. That is really inexcusable.
We solved everything in your absence, Drummond. So the meeting is redundant.
I am so glad. We have been waiting for that to happen, and all we needed to do is just not show up.
I'll get you up to speed in terms of what I have done so far in your absence. Is that I have passed over the links to the meeting minutes from the Americas meeting. Kind of urge everybody to take a look at Martina's Miro board, which I have also confessed that I have not taken a look at myself since yesterday, my time yesterday. And then linked to the credential spec Google Doc that was out. And before you joined, we were discussing the topic of the management of life cycle of DIDs as it relates to this project. So, and that is where you enter the stage, and it's all yours at this point.
You are Sankarshan, I thank you for covering so well. Yes, there's already rumors that Sankarshan should be our India-based co-chair. So just so you know, just letting it out there. Like he's so good at that. And if you haven't, Sankarshan, I think you need to. Oops, I'm repeating things here. Actually, I don't know if. Let's see. Yeah, we don't have. I'm just going to put your articles that you're putting out. I'm subscribed to your Substack. That's where you're publishing them, right, Sankarshan?
Yes, that is where I do that.
They're outstanding. I don't know quite how you're pumping out everything you are, but I'm just it's like we should put that in the announcements here that folks should. Do you have a homepage for your links there, Sankarshan? For those,
I do. I'll give that to you in chat.
That's perfect. If you would, I'm just going to add it because I'm going to recommend to these other two fine gentlemen that Sankarshan's writing is honestly, when I was reading your one today about governance has moved on, I was thinking, this is tending towards a book. Now, I don't know if you're thinking about that, Sankarshan.
I have been thinking about it. It's just that I haven't been able to figure out how to go ahead and execute that plan.
Yeah, well, it's having been through one book myself, it's not trivial, but they are that good. Yes, I'm going to copy that link and put highly recommended at Sankarshan's. Oops, Shan's Substack series. There we go. Yeah, there it is, the trust graph, which I just want you to know, he named it that how long ago, Sankarshan? You're on mute.
Probably 3 odd years ago.
Yeah. So long before, we had Trust RP going, but we weren't even talking yet about decentralized trust graphs, and he had already called it that. So anyway, I highly recommend it. Now everyone's got the link, and you too can enjoy that. So, and actually, I'm also thinking, Sankarshan, just so you know, they're worthy of a Trust RP webinar, right? We haven't talked about one of those in a while, but I think it's we had a great, by the way, in between this morning's meeting and tonight, we had a steering committee meeting this afternoon and elected the 2026 steering committee, which is now actually going from 13 to 16 members because we had three new folks. We had 13 folks renewing and three new folks who were nominated want to be part of it. So we're like, hey, rather than hold an election, we had said 15 was the max. We just raised it to 16 and everyone's going to be on that. So a lot of enthusiasm about that. That's news we take into the LF Decentralized Trust member summit next week, which is, it's in New York City. I'm not personally going, but three members of the steering committee are going to be going. Wenjing Chu, Carla McKenna from Glyph, and Nicholas Raz from Key State Capital is the name of that. So they're going to be representing us there. So that's sort of the just to make sure we cover this. There is I'll say it right in front of both an announcement, and I'll put in the it's interesting. Do we copy? Yeah, we copy a link address. Let's see how it comes across. Next week we are not going to be meeting either North Americas, Europe, or APAC. In the morning, our slot is the exact same time as I just put it in there. The global announcement of the My Terms. That's the market-friendly name. It's technically IEEE P7012, I believe. It's a new IEEE standard for personal privacy terms. Fits very well what we're doing here with verifiable relationship credentials and private channels, largely between people and businesses or sites. Anyway, their worldwide webinar, which will feature Doc Searles, longtime leader of VRM and author of The Attention Economy, but also the other keynote speaker will be John Bruce, who is the CEO of Inrupt, which is what he and Tim Berners-Lee formed to address personal data stores, pods/wallets. They use all those terms. So that's next week. It's in the morning slot, so it doesn't really help with this unless you want to stay up for it. It will be recorded, I understand. And then we're having a series of first-person meetings, technical meetings with some folks that are in town next week. So I won't. There's several of us who won't be available for this meeting. So no meeting next week, but highly recommend that webinar if you can make it or listen to the recording. And then Riza Rasul issued another invitation for anyone who's going to be there. And I'm going to be one of the speakers because I'm going to go to LA for that and to visit my younger son who lives there. And that's the Quai AI Summit on March 5th. And then the last announcement made was this one. One of the Quai members is going to be presenting on taxonomy for agent systems. And he's been commenting on our decentralized DTG glossary work to sort of fit those things together. So those were the announcements that we covered. And then as Secretary said, there wasn't risk assessment harms task force did not meet this week. I will briefly go over this because it was on the recording, but on the credentials task force, we're ready now. We have the key pieces between the glossary, the bootstrap document, VTC bootstrapping document, and I think you have these, but I'll just put in. So the glossary is here, and the bootstrap document is here. And then the current now it was a PR, but now it's fully the DT credentials draft. I'm just calling it a proposal. The current schemas proposal is here. DTG. There we go on that one. Which in the end of the meeting there was several questions about it. So Brendan Miller from the Harvard Applied Social Media Lab ran through it again to answer questions about that. But in any case, we think with those three things, we are ready now to start a working draft. And we're going to set up a separate repo for the glossary using the SpecUp T glossary management tools that we've been developing in the concept terminology working group. They work against any markdown document, but it works best if it's in a dedicated repo. So the proposal is let's create a repo for the DTG glossary and maintain that there. We can then, using those tools, incorporate any definition in that glossary in any of our specs. So we can refer to that glossary separately or incorporate them in the specs. And the cool thing is all of the definitions, if you're of any word, any term used in the spec, so the W3C works the same way. Not only are they all linked to their definitions, but when you hover a link on the web document, you get a pop-up to show you the definition right there. So it's pretty powerful tooling that's taken several years to be developed. All open source, and big shout out to Hank Von Conn and his team to do that there. So that's the first step. I just exchanged emails. We're already underway with the second step of creating, we've never had a TrustRP specification template. Now that we're under LFDT, we've got some help, and I think within 2 or 3 weeks, we should be able to have a template we can use for all of our specs to just save us a bunch of time. And then the last step is just working out an outline before we dive in to do the working draft 01. And here is a link to the outline that I shared. Happy to do, I'll just put this right here. Outline. This again is also a Google Doc. Anyone is open to comment on that there. And I'll just briefly run through this. There's not rocket science. Typical front matter, introduction, convention terminology. This is where any glossary that we include in line would be there. Overview section that will cover the major concepts involved that we've been developing, nodes and edges, DIDs. This credential diagram or this little ontology of our credential types is now in the glossary. So I just copied it over here. And as well as then cover our other major conceptual pieces, trust communities, networks, trust agents, persona management, witnesses, endorsements, reputation. Basically, it just works your way across all of this. And then once we've done that, then we have, we get into the normative specification sections. It's ironic, our normative specifications around DIDs are pretty simple, but we still want to characterize what are the, the recommendations for the kinds of DIDs, the classes of DIDs, not necessarily DID methods, but just the classes of DIDs we use. And then the heart of the spec is the credentials, the schemas, and there's some additional things we talked about in the morning meeting that will go in here about the use of the W3C specs and backwards compatibility questions that I didn't capture yet. But this is the part of it. And then you have the standard sections for all these specs: security, privacy. We add governance considerations, even though we don't specify governance here, but we do want to talk about the things that are governance, like policy-driven community development, things like that, and standard references and back matter. So that's a very quick tour, just the same thing I covered about the same time this morning. So is that helpful? Any thoughts or questions about the general structure of that spec? Very good. And then
when it was just the three, when it was just the three of us, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your names. Do you say Kim or
Kim Yong?
Kim?
Yes.
Kim Yong. So
Yeah.
your question about life cycle
Yeah.
does that belong in this document? The life cycle of a credential?
It's just so
It
it's
does.
a, I have a it's a my question was related to the DID, the life cycles. I think it's just that there might be difference between the life cycle of the DID and the life cycle of the credentials.
Yes.
Is my understanding
Related
correct?
but different.
Yes, right. It's just therefore this my first question is so in the DTG architectures, how to manage the DID life cycles. Sometimes in the peer-to-peer communications, user can generate the DID their own. Therefore, the DID life cycle can be managed by the users himself. But if the DID DID generated by the government or some authorities, authoritative organizations, and then the DID management should be handled by that organizations. That is my understanding. Is that correct, German?
Yes. Well, I'm really glad. I'm just adding again because this we're just getting ideas of what goes where in the spec. You are absolutely right that one of the key differences between these different categories of DIDs is what are the requirements for resolution, discovery, resolution, verification, life cycle management, right? They really are. I mean, that's why we have these four categories that we've worked out are necessary, and the use and scope and resolution of our DIDs, relationship DIDs, is very different than the community DIDs. Yeah, it's just all of these four, they're like four different, trying to use the, I used to be long ago before I got into software, I was in construction. And I'm thinking it's like, well, they're all hammers, but they're very, very different types of hammers, right? The difference between a ball peen hammer and a framing hammer is just massive, right? They're hammers, but they're totally different tools and they're used for totally different jobs. And that's what I think we need to describe. And you're absolutely right, Young. Lifecycle management, and especially things like persona management, depends on persona DIDs. And so that's what we need to cover in this section. And I'll say one more thing about specs in general, which is, since I've been at this for a very long time, there's a tendency to do a lot of explaining in a spec because, you've sort of worked out, oh, this is how all this stuff works. I've learned that you actually want to make sure a specification is to specify, is to define requirements and, that lead to conformance and interoperability. Separately, we should publish implementation guides. And implementation guides is where we would put, a lot of recommendations around, things like DID lifecycle management, privacy preservation, persona management, right? We will define persona DIDs and verifiable persona credentials, but how to use them, recommendations for how to use them effectively would go into the implementation guide. Is that helpful?
Thank you. I try to think about that as
Absolutely. It is, just a slight aside, I gave a presentation on Tuesday to the W3C Credentials Community Group. You probably are familiar with that. They've one of the original groups in the whole space, still going on. And I think we gave a year ago, we gave a presentation about IRA when it was announced, the IRA Association. And I think that was January. And they said, hey, tell us more. We came back again in June or July. I can't remember what it was, to go deeper into trust registries. And we introduced the first person project there. And they said, oh, can you come back and talk about that? But it wasn't scheduled until yesterday. So I gave a full hour-long presentation on the whole latter part of which was about our work here. I showed the diagram of the specs, and given that that was the birthplace of DIDS, well, not exactly birthplace, but that's where they went before, in order to be incubated to become to then become a full W3C working group. That's one of the it's one of the concentrated places of DID expertise and interest. And they were super interested in these different categories of DIDs. I personally don't know of any project that is making more robust use of DIDs. And all, it's basically saying we need these different classes, right, of DIDs that have, it's all, the whole decentralized trust graph is basically built of DIDs for nodes, identifying nodes, and then VCs that put those DIDs together to define edges, right, or annotations on edges. And even, when we then got to, okay, now how do you actually assemble one of these things? We realized that the, popping back up to this, that even invitation credentials actually work right off the same thing, because you basically need the DID of the inviter and the DID of the entity being invited, not necessarily a person, right? You can literally invite an agent to join, well, obviously to develop a relation with an agent, or an agent to join a group or a VTC, right? So it's just the same patterns being used over and over. And yeah, it's just, that's why, we're proposing a whole section in the spec on DIDs before we get into the credentials. So yeah. Anything else? Any other questions or feedback? Again, this is a Google Doc. Comment is open. So any thoughts you have, hey, content suggestions, things should go in here. The whole idea is we'll work from this and the other docs. Once we have a template, we're going to pile into a working draft, which is why I want to emphasize this final point that I made. If you're interested to the level of wanting to be an editor, everyone can be a contributor, reviewer, but if you actually want to, weigh into the editing process, feel free to put your hand up. It's just, we want to make sure. I have told folks that, myself and one of my co-chairs, Martina Colpondinos, we're volunteering to, be editors on this, because that's, that's what we're here to help do. And I think we'll both have some time to do it. But if we're very interested in recruiting other editors, and this is only the first of 5 or 6 specifications that we'll be putting out. So that was everything we covered around that topic. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm not actually on the content you're talking about. I'm dragging you back to things you were saying 20 minutes ago. I wasn't quick enough scribbling down the name of the guy who's working at Interrupt with Tim Berners-Lee.
Yes. Oh boy, as soon as you said that. John Bruce.
John Bruce. Okay.
John Bruce. Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Again, and he's going to be the other keynote speaker on that webinar. I know timing wise, it is 8 a.m. Pacific that day, so it may not be. But again, it'll be recorded. So
yeah.
But I think that'll be well worth it. Yeah. Okay. So the as I mentioned, questions came up near the end, and Brendan reviewed the credential proposal VO3. So the balance of the meeting was Martina sharing this Miro board, and you've already shared the link. I can I can do it again just so, put it in here just to make sure. Oh, that's interesting the way it does it now. It is a link, but now Zoom is smart enough to actually copy in the text. And I can't remember, do I have it? Oh, did I have it open? I'm just going to go ahead and open it. If I go like that, does it go to the thing? Open link in a new tab? There it is. Okay. So we're going to go over to that Miro board, which is loading slowly. There it comes. Okay, need an overview, fit the screen. I'm not seeing anything right now, so I'm going to hit.
That's what I did as well. But there's plenty of content once you find it.
Yes, I hit the fit the screen. I love it. It reintroduces. You got to always get used to. I got to remember the keys for everything. So, of course, the whole thing is then we really need to. Martina, just so you know, if you haven't been on a call with her almost exactly, well, in December of not last year, 2024, and I'm going to scroll all the way in here to get the first one up here, all the way. And she's got these notes around this that will be helpful. I'll sort of get them on the screen. So I'm just going to tell you a little background. Martina was a member of the Swiss EID team, their electronic ID. If you're not aware of that, you've got the European Digital Identity Wallet Initiative, but Switzerland is Switzerland, and they're not a member of the EU, but they're right in the middle of the EU, and so they want to be as compatible as they can with the EU. So unlike the rest of the EU, when they first had a proposal for an EID system, it was voted down in a referendum, and there was too much concern about surveillance and government based identity and everything. So they had to that was I think 2 or 3 years ago. They had to completely retool, and the folks in favor of SSI, self-sovereign identity, something that was much more self-sovereign, were won out and were successful in getting a whole new digital wallet, digital credential based approach. And that became the basis for now their EID system. There was, again, because I've learned that's how it works in Switzerland, any new legislation can be challenged with a referendum. So that happened again. And it was, I think, at the end of September, the new one passed like 50.03% to 49.7%. It just squeaked through. So they're proceeding with the Swiss EID system under this premise. Martina's actually, I don't have it right in front of me, but she did a fantastic write-up of applying the principles of self-sovereign identity to the Swiss EID system. What does fit, what is not, what still leaves to be desired. So that's just a little background on Martina. She has, I think it's a doctorate in requirements management. And so I had learned from her. I've been working with her on the first person project. Like I said, I met her there, started talking about first person project. She was very interested. She's been volunteering over the last year, and now is one of the team helping us set up the first person cooperative. And that's how she, came to be part of the task force and joining us at TrustRP. She, by the way, was nominated, not by me, someone else, for the TrustRP steering committee and is now, as of today, TOP steering committee member. I'm giving you this background because she and I were talking about sort of next steps for the working group, and I knew that she's not a big fan of use cases because there's nothing wrong with use cases, but she said they tend to be a narrow way to really look at requirements. Use cases, user stories, of course, are part of it, but she said, especially for socio-technical systems like we're designing here, you need a broader view. And so I said, hey, I think that perspective and your background and how those are done would really be great for the working group to hear about. And so she volunteered to do this, and she put together this Miro board, and I'm going to go in a little bit further just so you get a sense. So she calls this an expectation area for, and in this case, the quote story or activity is joining a community for the first time. And the color of, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. I meant to move something. I want to get this. So the color of these stickies indicate what, these are the things you do to start. This is about how you feel, things you need to consider, things it enables you to do, and questions or things you're unsure about. And so she ran through this. And she said, like, you want this to feel like as simple as ordering a coffee at a coffee shop, right? And it could start with you receiving an invitation that's easy to understand. Hey, someone asks you to do you want to join this verifiable trust community? Or you having a way to ask if you can join. And then she or someone separately, because people already contributed, said that you receive an invitation that you can trust, that it's not a spam or phishing of some kind. And then this one is, let me go a little bit closer here. Receiving an invitation via email or chat from a community. I am a member. I think that means I am a member of, which I think is a little like these two here. Anyway, they're just different ways of putting that in this. And then this color means that enables or allows you to be recognized as a member of this community in other contexts. And in other set of contexts, I would have said across other communities or even other networks, FPN being the first person network, one verifiable trust network that will be using all of these standards. And then I think this is a good example. This pink one here is to, it's not red, but it's pink. I'm unsure about. I think she meant, I think that is an N in there. She missed an N. Unsure about. Yes, I just fixed that. So, and she's flagging. You could be unsure about what that message is about, which I think is an important point. If you receive an invitation, if you don't know what it's about, or even worse, you suspect, most such messages we get, it's like, whoa, spam, scam, something, right? So we have to be aware that as much as we know, we're about building trust communities, there ain't many of those out there today. Or if they are, you get involved with them, like here at LF, it's a long procedure and involvement. So this idea of you could get an invitation to join a trust community that's actually a very lightweight process. It's a lot of education around that. So I'm just going to stop there. What she did was introduce this process. And then I want to move over and look at, she also then created sticky colors for each of the kinds of credentials we defined, so that we can actually, as we go through these, we can identify where certain credentials would be used in these processes. And on the other side, I'll go over this one. Oh, she just put that on both sides. Yeah. So anyway, she built this board, and then I want to make sure it's clear. You move from one to the next. This next one is participating in the community. And I'm not going to go down to details. I'm just going to keep. Yeah, she's got these arrows here to help you if you move out a little bit. Yeah, she's just going to. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that either. Joining another community. And then I'm going to go down here. Where does the?
It's Drummond's.
Yes.
I can see anything. I can't. It's did you share something?
Oh yeah, I've been sharing this. Is it not?
Yes.
Is
I cannot see that.
Oh,
it's working for me. So
I'll tell you what. Let me stop sharing and try resharing that. I didn't realize that it was not appearing. It is a. Okay, I'm coming back again. Ginyong, is this? Are you seeing it now?
Yes, I see that.
Oh,
Thank
okay,
you.
good. Now, again, I'm going to share link. I think I just copied this. One thing that would be really good, I got to reopen my chat window. See if you can, I'm going to put in Miro board again. If you can join this Miro board and edit. If you
Okay.
can, just take a minute to
Mm.
to see if it works for you, because she set it up this way that it doesn't require special permission.
Yeah, I just put a test sticky note on a board, which I'll now remove. But
Mhm.
certainly I can do it.
Fantastic. All she wanted to do was basically, give an introduction a little bit to her background, why she's bringing this tool, and then just take us through how it's used. As you can see, this particular story or activity, the last one down here, rejoining a community. She's just saying, you can basically take this template, as you were, and copy it and around the Miro board create as many related sets. And she advocated it as a more robust way. Oh, I that's right. I didn't go down here. I want to show you. She did talk about these sort of as you've created an activity board here around one, then you can come down and take these and answer these questions. How important does it feel to you? Write your suggestion here. This is some activity. She didn't go through this in detail. She just said, these are two of the same ways you can then comment on what is happening in that and get a sense of how relevant or irrelevant it is, comfortable or uncomfortable, empowering or constraining, protective or exposing, trust building or trust eroding. So I think this is supposed to be the word represent. Oh, didn't mean to do that. I meant to put the T at the end of that. Yeah, and I'm not sure I fully understood this one. You're supposed to pick, I think you pick one of these stickies and then you place it up here. So as a developer, you feel this is empowering, something like that. One thing I was going to say is feel free, now that you've been exposed to the tool, to ask any questions in the in Discord, in our channel in Discord, because and she encouraged that because she said, yeah, this is a newer, in her view, richer and more flexible way to explore the typical things done under use cases or user stories. And she wanted just to make it available as a tool. She said, as we develop it, as we sort of, as a working group, start working out more of these activities and annotating them and analyzing them, they'll be available to everyone. There was immediate interest on those folks working on the risk assessment and harms prevention. So they are following up with her. I think she's going to present at that meeting, which is 7 a.m. Pacific next Tuesday. And that's what she covered. Again, she didn't go any further today. She just covered this first one as an example. I'll go back to that one and just said start there. And these are her notes I think she has put in. So if you have any feedback for her about this whole process or questions, yeah, I recommend putting it in the Discord channel.
So, German is so.
Yes.
Last question is could you share the Discord channels for the discussion?
Yes. Let me do that right now. Actually, if I can, I wonder if I will go as far as actually sharing. Let's see, where is Discord. Oh, right here. The reason I'm going to share this is I'm going to show you what I learned about that, which is it's really cool. So this is the yeah, actually all the TrustRP channel, because we're a subgroup of Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. All of our channels start with TOIP, so you can just see
Okay.
them all. And then you can choose to subscribe or not subscribe, which ones appear on your list here. This here we are down here. And the cool thing is you want to invite anyone else. It's this one right here. And what I think is interesting about this is you can copy this link and it will be by default, it's a link that expires in a short period. What I learned was if you hit this little thing right here, edit invite link, it then gives you these choices and you can change the period of time. You can even get a link that doesn't expire and you can limit the number of folks. It's just really quite robust. How many folks can it be used? So actually what I'll do is I'll do this and what then you hit generate a new link. That's the link you get. That's the one I'm going to copy and put in the chat, which is here. Okay. Oh, Shan already did this.
Yeah.
He's way ahead of me. It's
Yeah,
as
okay.
usual. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. So, again, I apologize for being late, but we just covered everything that we covered in the meeting this morning. And again, a reminder, no meeting next week, either Americas EU or APAC because of the webinar and the conference we have going on. In 2 weeks, we will be back and potentially already have a working draft. Yeah, so things are moving quickly. And I think I mentioned, but I do want to bring out if there's any chance folks are going to be in the States for it, Linux, the Summit on Human Agency the day before Linux Foundation Member Summit is highly recommended. We will be featured, a first-person project, Decentralized Trustcraft Working Group in that event. I think the plan is all of those talks, it's a day-long session, all of them will be filmed and they'll go on some kind of a YouTube channel or something. So be able to pick it up that way. Any other questions or thoughts you want to share here on today's APAC meeting?
No, all good. Thanks, Trump.
No, thank you.
Excellent. I really appreciate it. And we'll keep growing our APAC contingent here. I will say, are you familiar with Certizen? They're a Hong Kong-based certificate authority that is also, been leaning into SSI for a long time. Sankar Chan, I'm pretty sure you have talked to Eva Chan before. She's the founder and CEO. The reason I mention it is she and one of her employees, Karen Leong, I think, Leong is how you pronounce it. They were on the steering committee meeting today, and they really want to sort of grow TrustRP related projects in the APAC region. So just wanted to make sure you were aware that Certizen is the name of the company. I don't think I have a link right now, but I just put it in there in case you're interested in what they're doing. Oh, thank you, Shen. Really appreciate it. And one more plug for reading Sankar Shan's excellent series of essays. Very good. With that, I'm going to go get some exercise here in Seattle. It being a nice dark night now, but I still got to get something. And I thank you all, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Trevor.
Okay.
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care.